Shows you how old this is. Hate those kinds of ways to put out discs. Hate them. Feels as if I'm gonna break the disc. God damn it, it's the VCI logo again. Can we get a different logo next time? Well, this is it. The first DVD I ever had. And I didn't even get the original theme song. You might not see it from this video footage, but this has more frames per second than the Season 7 footage. This was quite interesting as a kid.
The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea.
Isn't that like every single other island in the world?
The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track?
Gee, I don't know. Even after showing him in the intro, I really don't know who it is. Is it Ivor?
It's Thomas.
Go!
All over the island, steam engines and diesel engines were happily working together.
That's not normal.
The Fat Controller came to see Thomas.
The stupid 8-year-old version of myself was really fascinated by all of these camera movements and higher frame rate. Then again, I was fascinated with anything when I was 8. Anything.
The quarry has an important order to fill, said the Fat Controller. I need an engine that is both useful and reliable.
Well, unfortunately, Edward is on the other side of the island right now, keeping Stepney company. Well, to be fair, Thomas was written a bit better in Season 8 than in later seasons.
But Diesel was soon up to his old tricks. First, he shunted Thomas under the hopper.
Angelus wasn't kidding with Diesel's old tricks. I mean, causing damage and trouble instead of working. I thought he would keep boasting about how revolutionary he is. Yeah, no one can push engines onto stone hoppers for no reason better than Diesel.
Then, when Thomas let off steam, Diesel sniffed loudly. "What's that horrible smell?" he cried.
Now come on, cigarette smoke doesn't smell that bad.
No wonder the Fat Controller is thinking of scrapping Steamies.
It really has been a while since Diesel was on the railway last.
What if Diesel is right? Thomas said sadly. What if the Fat Controller scraps all of us?
I did say a bit better.
The next day, Salty had arrived. "Ahoy there, me hearties! Fresh diesel from the mainland."
This was the first time I ever saw Salty on screen. And he's not even at the docks, or singing shanties, or telling stories.
After he had been refueled, Diesel's engine started to rev faster and faster.
Actually, I think your control panel is on the fritz.
Suddenly, Diesel's engine coughed. Then it started to splutter. Black, smelly smoke billowed from his exhaust. "I feel sick," wailed Diesel. The quarry manager was upset. "It's the new fuel," he cried. "Water must have leaked into the tanks."
Well, I can at least make a food poisoning joke. This sounds a bit like food poisoning, or cross-contamination, or something.
Thomas trundled all over the island with fresh fuel for everybody. For Salty, for Harry, and for Bert.
Since there are so many diesels out of service, couldn't the Fat Controller send out a few more engines to deliver fresh fuel? Or was he intentionally trying to make Thomas feel important?
At the quarry, all work had stopped. Diesel was as green as a leaf.
I wonder where this "your face turns green when you turn sick" thing comes from. I think you usually turn pale when you're ill, not green.
Mavis and Diesel had all the bad fuel drained out of their engines, and all the good clean fuel poured in.
Nothing beats the resources from your own railway. So I wonder how all of those mainland diesels are coping with their own leaky fuel.
Well done, Thomas, boomed the Fat Controller. You are a really useful engine and a credit to the railway. Thank you, sir, puffed Thomas proudly.
I really have to get used to hearing that line at least 5 more times today. Oh yeah, there are animated engine sequences in between each episode. I wouldn't really call them transitions because they don't really transition into the next part. It's just that animation of Thomas whistling.
There are many different engines on the Fat Controller's railway, and there are many different sounds. Let's listen to some of them.
Oh yeah, I forgot that as well. There are also learning segments in between each episode. Oh no, there are learning segments in between each episode. Yeah, this was when the show was broadcast on toddler channels like Nick Jr. or Milkshake, when they were trying to appeal to a younger audience or trying to be educational.
Henry hauled trucks in the forest.
The Reverend Wilbur Audrey doesn't approve.
No.
Henry pulled into Knapford Station. He was delighted to see all the passengers.
Is that the only reason why he's stopping at the station? Unless Knapford Yards is where he's delivering the logs to.
Keep your smelly phrase away from my passengers, grumbled Gordon.
Logs are not really smelly.
Passengers and freight do not mix, huffed Gordon.
Not usually.
Henry watched the express leave the station. I'd like to pull passengers, sighed Henry. Just for a change.
You do pull passengers though. Occasionally, but still.
What are those children doing? Henry asked Thomas. That's the old Sodor wishing tree, said Thomas. They must be making a wish.
I'm surprised they didn't go all stereotypical and used a wishing well. They actually thought of something else for children to wish around.
He took a deep breath and made a wish as hard as he could. I wish I could pull the express instead of Gordon.
No! You're not supposed to wish out loud.
Tomorrow you will pull the express, he said. Thank you, sir, said Henry happily.
Wait, you're not going to tell him why?
But Henry puffed too quickly. Go gently, called his driver. You can bump freight, but you can't bump passengers.
How long has it been since he's last pulled passenger trains? This episode is written as if Henry has never pulled passengers in his life. Oh wait, this is season 8. The writers weren't focusing that much on continuity. Like, at all.
The passengers were missing Gordon too. They were having the bounciest, bumpiest ride they had ever had.
Jesus Christ.
He tried his best to be gentle, but he shunted the buffet car so hard everything flew into the air.
Now that's a money shot. This was one of those scenes that I like to rewind and watch over and over again because of how awesome it looked. Oh yeah, and this is backwards characterization, I guess.
Wishing trees don't run railways, said the Fat Controller. That's my job. Gordon just needed some repairs. He'll be back tomorrow.
So why didn't you just tell him that from the start?
Even though the Fat Controller had told him trees don't run railways, Henry wished he would never have to pull passengers ever again.
Yeah.
Every engine on the island of Sodor looks different.
Not all of them.
Can you tell who this is?
Emily.
This engine is dark green.
Not to insult the toddler's intelligence or anything, but Emily.
It's only got a small roof on the cab.
Emily.
But
Emily.
it's got a very tall funnel.
Emily.
Do you know who it is yet?
Emily.
Here's another clue.
Emily,
This end
Emily,
very big
Emily,
wings.
Emily, Emily,
There's
Emily,
only
Emily,
one
Emily,
angel
Emily,
on
Emily,
Sodor
Emily,
who
Emily,
has
Emily,
wheels
Emily,
on
Emily,
it.
Emily, Emily, Emily,
You know
Emily,
who it
elephant
is?
back to truck and said goodbye to the
Yes.
circus.
It's Emily.
Oh yeah, there are also songs in between episodes too. And this one is pretty good. It's really catchy.
Shaka shaka. Shaka shaka. Shaka shaka. These are the sounds that the engines make.
Though I wonder why they're mixing season 8 footage with season 7 footage.
It was a beautiful morning on the island of Sodor.
When I first saw that title as a kid, the first thing that immediately popped into my head was that Special Postman Pat episode. Yeah, only because they were both called Main Character and the Tuba.
And it was Lady Hat's birthday. She was having a special party.
Well, it looks like the Fat Controller had no trouble getting there this time.
Thomas, you are to collect the brass band. James and Gordon were upset. They wanted to collect the brass band themselves.
Yeah, sorry guys, but the party is at Maithwaite, on Thomas's branch line. So, yeah.
But Thomas was so excited, he pulled away too soon. The tuba player was left behind.
Now what was taking him so long to just climb onto a coach?
Thomas raced back to Knapford Station. But the tuba player wasn't at Knapford Station. He was waiting for Bertie the bus.
Wow, impatient much?
Thomas raced from station to station. Must find him, he puffed.
Well, for once, Thomas sort of has the right idea. If the tuba player isn't at Knapford, then he must be at another station further down the line. But wouldn't his first place to look be Maithwaite? I mean, that's where the tuba player is meant to be going. Why would he be at Dryor or Farquhar?
Bertie had dropped the tuba player off. Bye-bye, he called cheerfully.
Wait, why didn't Bertie just take him straight to Maithwaite? The station is on his bus route. Why didn't he drop him off there along with some of his other passengers?
Thomas flew right across the level crossing. He didn't see Elizabeth waiting there, or the tuba player on her flatbed. And he didn't hear the tuba playing.
Oh, great. This is one of those many stories where Thomas is blind and deaf in order for the story to happen or continue.
Elizabeth took the tuba player all the way to the mill.
Well, the windmill, yes, but this isn't the flour mill.
I can take you as far as the flour mill, she boomed. Thomas looked behind trucks and called into carriages.
What makes him think he'd be in there? Or hiding behind trucks?
Percy's trucks came off the track, and so did Thomas.
No, he isn't.
Percy leaves first. He steams along his track, round lots of corners. It's very twisty.
I would have loved to have seen the set designers making a track layout like this.
Where will Emily be going? Emily twists in and out, around and about.
And Emily would have derailed by now because the bends were too sharp.
Everyone found their surprise destination. Well done, Thomas. Well done, Emily. And
Will these people ever be consistent when it comes to Emily's whistle? 1 minute she has Henry's whistle, but then later she would have Gordon's whistle. I wish they would make up their minds.
You steamies are old and clapped out,
he sneered.
When the Fat Controller realises this, you'll all be scrapped.
Diesel is as unaware of modern times as Chancellor Naysay was.
Then he heard a horrible squeaking noise. Squeaking could only mean one thing. Something was wrong. What if Diesel's right? He thought. What if the Fat Controller scraps me?
Whoa. I mean, there's overreacting and then there's that.
Gordon squeaks sadly up the hill. The hill was steep and Gordon had to slow down.
I'm surprised he didn't end up stuck this time. He wouldn't have been able to move up the hill at this speed.
Aha, he said. If I go slowly, no one will hear me squeak. And he chuffed slowly back to Tidmouth's sheds.
Wait, hadn't there been any complaints from the passengers about how slow Gordon was going? Wasn't a single one of those passengers late?
I am taking some village children on a boat trip. You, Gordon, are to take us to Brendam Docks. The boat leaves at 9 o'clock, so you must not be late. The next morning, Gordon waited for everyone to go.
Oh, we're off to a good start.
Then he heard something even worse. It was a rattle. Oh dear, he cried. Diesel was right. I am falling apart. What will the Fat Controller say?
Why hasn't he already thought of the idea that maybe he should, go to the repair yard? You know, like in the episode we just watched?
Then he heard another noise. A knocking noise.
Firstly, that's false advertising. I didn't see the word knock in the title. And second, where is the knocking noise coming from? I can only assume it's coming from the coaches, but no, they seem to indicate that it comes from Gordon. So, what is it exactly? Is there a wooden door inside Gordon's boiler or something?
Salty and Henry were surprised. They had never heard an engine make such awful noises.
They have no idea.
Why haven't you been to the repair yard? The repair yard? Gasped Gordon.
The things they have to do to a character's memory just to let the story happen.
So you're not going to scrap me? Asked Gordon. Scrap Gordon, boomed the Fat Controller. The fastest engine on Sodor. Who would pull the express?
Henry? James? Thomas? Emily? Hell, I bet even Toby can do it.
Each engine on the island of Sodor looks different.
Not this again.
Can you tell who is who? This engine is green.
Percy?
It has large wheels. In fact, the whole engine looks very large.
Gordon?
There's a coal tender at the back.
Emily?
Do you know who it is yet?
Boko?
On the side is a big yellow number 3.
Sir Handel?
Have you guessed?
Harold?
It's Henry. Hello, Henry.
This all feels insulting for some reason.
This engine is
Toby.
a completely different shape.
Toby.
wheels are covered, it has cowcatchers on the front end and on the back, and there are two small windows
dear
on each
Toby,
This engine
when
is
will
made
the
of wood,
segments
and it has a
end?
big number 7 painted on the side.
Nicer,
Who could it be?
will you just
That's
end
right.
this now?
It's Toby.
Ding ding.
Hello, Toby. Now, do you know who this last engine is?
For any kids back then who couldn't guess who this one is, I feel sorry for you. With a title like that, it's easy to think straight away that Percy will get a new whistle. You know, like swapping his high-pitched whistle for a louder, lower-pitched whistle, like Toby's new whistle. But that's not actually what the title means. You'll see in a minute.
All the engines were busy carrying passengers and goods from station to station.
Aren't they always doing that?
One day, Percy took some trucks to the smelter's yard.
This clearly isn't the smelters. This is the quarry. Didn't Michael Angelis or the cameraman or the set designer even look at the script?
Caught out a whistle, chortled Bert. Just listen to this.
I always used to love it when the engines jutted about like that. Not only do the models have motors to make them move, and motors to make their eyes move, for most of them, but they also put in motors to make them insert annoying Taylor Swift song here. On the rare occasion, these models are amazing.
Percy practiced loud whistling. He blew louder and louder and louder. At last, he was ready to surprise Harry and Bert.
It doesn't sound any louder to me. A high-pitched whistle like Percy's is ear-piercing enough already.
Later, Percy went back to the quarry.
Oh, now they say it's the quarry. I guess Angelus wasn't reading the script properly. Somehow.
Now that he had a super loud whistle, Percy couldn't wait to use it again.
Yeah, that was what the title meant by new whistle. It's not really a new whistle. Percy just needs to blow harder than he would normally. No innuendo intended.
Thomas was cross. That wasn't funny, he sniffed. But Percy didn't notice.
How could he not notice? Thomas is right there.
You made Bertie skid across the road and my trucks got damaged, said Thomas. Percy was sorry. I won't do it again, he wailed. I promise.
We've still got 4 minutes of the episode left, so he's clearly not going to keep his promise.
Trevor was so surprised his trailer bumped into a pile of logs.
That was just Trevor bumping into the logs. He didn't have a trailer behind him.
A log fell off and rolled down the hill. Snow stuck to the log. It turned into a snowball. The snowball got bigger and bigger.
Okay, this is just ridiculous.
The next day, Percy was a very quiet engine indeed. He didn't use his whistle once.
Okay, it's good that he did learn his lesson this time, but he didn't blow it once? Not at stations or level crossings or anywhere? Am I to assume it's so early in the day?
Percy heard Thomas. He was heading straight for the snowdrift. I must warn him, cried Percy. He blew the loudest whistle he had ever blown. Something must be wrong, cried Thomas.
Now I'm starting to realize how much of this episode of Toby's new whistle ripped off.
What sound does Harold make when he flies? That doesn't sound right.
At least Pegasus is seeing more of Harold after rescuing him.
What sound does Thomas make? No, that's not it.
Call me weird, but I kinda find it refreshing to hear different sound effects over the same repetitive footage. Yeah, seeing the same thing over and over again for 4 seasons can be a bit tiring. So, seeing and hearing it like this is a breath of fresh air.
All the engines on the island of Sodor look forward to Harvest Festival time.
What the hell? They're using Season 5 footage now? Granted, it's not as bad as how Season 7 did it.
I wanted to collect the fireworks, Thomas pouted. The fucking shoulder chose me because I'm as red as a rocket and twice as grand.
He didn't actually say that. But I know, James is just being vain and boastful. Again!
Thomas was still upset when he arrived at the shunting yards.
Coaling plant? Did they seriously do this shit again?
Thomas shunted the last truck crossly into place. The trucks were glad that job was finished.
And now whoever is going to be taking this train will most likely end up in an accident because Thomas made the trucks cross.
He was thinking about the fireworks. He was imagining all the sparkles, flashes and shooting stars.
Not to mention these rare CG effects.
When suddenly, James ground to a halt.
What even was that? To me, it sounded as if one of the fireworks went off in James's boiler.
James is broken down, he said. You must collect him, Thomas, and bring him back, or the firework display will be cancelled. Oh, no, cried Thomas. Then all the children will be sad.
Oh, what
Thomas found James broken down on the track. "Hello, busted boiler," teased Thomas. "You don't look very useful now."
Okay, what the hell? 1 minute you were worried about the children missing the fireworks, and now you're teasing James for no reason.
But when Thomas got behind James, he couldn't see ahead. "You will have to look out for me," said Thomas. But James was cross. "You said I wasn't useful," he pouted.
Yeah, it's better to think before you say things, Thomas.
"Why would the signal be red?" "Maybe a passenger train is coming through," puffed Thomas. "Gordon must be taking the children back," cried James. "We're here," they cried, and sounded their whistles as loudly as they could.
Where the hell is the signal box? It should have been close to this signal.
"Send up a rocket," he told his driver. So his driver carefully lit a rocket. He stood well back as it whooshed into the sky.
I'm surprised there was no fireworks safety PSA at the end of this episode.
That night, Thomas and James watched the fireworks together. "I think we are both useful engines," said James proudly.
You know, I do have to applaud the special effects used in Season 8. Even if the show's writing is not as good as it once was, at least there was effort put into the effects, or the sets, or the model work. Oh boy. You'd better get used to this song, kids, because you're going to be hearing this for 10 whole seasons. Well, actually, until the end of time, because they will later make remixes of this song.
Emily really knows her stuff. Henry toots and huffs and puffs. Edward wants to help and share. Toby, well, let's say he's square.
They really couldn't think of a more fitting short character description for Henry or Toby? Or couldn't they think of anything else that rhymes with stuff and share?
Down the hills and round the bends, Thomas and his friends.
Isn't it strange that there was a serious lack of Emily on this DVD? They're marketing one of the newest characters as a main character, and yet she didn't have a role in any of these episodes. On this DVD at least. And now, for shits and giggles, let's look at this Know Your Engines quiz.
Question 1. Which cheeky blue engine is number 1?
Oh, it's Tim Whitnell again. Again, it's really strange to hear his voice in a Thomas marketing production 10 years before he voices certain characters in the show.
A. Percy. B. Thomas. C. Henry.
Okay, I really want to know. What happens if you select a wrong answer?
Oops. Try again.
Is that it? These questions are so painfully easy that I just wanted to know.
Question 3. Who is the happy green engine with the number 6 on his side?
Not to mention, the clips that they play for the right answers, they're completely random and completely out of context. Imagine if you were playing this quiz before you watched any episodes.
At last, he was ready to surprise Harry and Bert.
Wouldn't you be a bit confused? And for some characters, they don't even play clips from Season 8.
Well done!
"Those be dark clouds, matey," whistled Thomas. "There be a fierce storm on the way, Cap'n," peeped Percy. Emily was cross. "It's no nice to copy the way others speak. You hurt Salty's feelings."
Though then again, the episodes that they did appear in Season 8 hadn't been released on DVD yet. I'm actually gonna applaud them for actually thinking about spoilers.
Well done!
Bertie pulled up beside the tuba player. "Can you take me to the party?" he asked.
Oh yeah, and you don't win any special features if you get all the questions right. Such a nice waste of time.